Hi, I'm LaVonda with Homeschoolific, and I'm just coming to you guys with just an end of the school year wrap up and review or update. This is literally our last day of school today. So, what a better way to come in at night. So, if I look tired, it's probably because I might be. It's late in the evening, but I wanted to get this video in to give you all kind of an idea of some of the challenges that we face this year in our homeschool and also some of our successes. So I'm going to start with the challenges first because I realize that we all face challenges in our homeschool years, and sometimes people think that the challenges go away as you get further into homeschooling, your homeschooling career. And this is my 10th year homeschooling, and I can firmly, honestly tell you that the challenges are always there. They just come differently. They look differently. They come differently with life changes. But you roll with the punches. The best thing you can do is just find ways to overcome, right? So I'm going to go over our challenges first. One of the challenges that we faced was with scheduling. So I work part-time from home, and depending on the week, maybe it's a little less part-time, but closer to full-time. And then, but as of lately, it's been I feel like a part-time worker. And I dropped my notes. So it seems like I've had just a fair amount of pushback within myself with trying to get us on a good schedule. Typically, we want to school during the day because it's our natural instinct. And as a person that does best in the morning, I'd like to start our day in the morning with me, right? With my work schedule, it's just not possible because that's when they need me for work. So I usually work until the early afternoon, and then I come and teach our kids that need me, and they do their independent work before that time. So that way I'm only coming to teach the subjects or work with them on subjects and read with them, right? So, and also do read alouds because I love that time where we can just sit on the couch and they can play with Legos and read. But the schedule, I resisted that. I didn't like the idea of doing school in the afternoon. And that was also when my energy would start to wane typically. That's my natural kind of flow. And so I had to find ways to keep my energy up. So coffee and Celsius, or depending on the day, I would just not eat because that's also what helped me to get through it until later in the day. So that way I can keep my energy a bit higher. So the good thing is that it was a challenge, and we kind of figured that out. We resolved the issue, I should say, halfway through our school year. So typically, you want to try and work through it in the first month or so. I'm just stubborn. I don't know, I don't know what else to say. I'm stubborn. We did try other ways to kind of combat that with the schooling, but I had to adjust our schedule a few times. So we landed on a schedule that was working well for us in January. Literally after our Christmas break, I just gave in, right? So the other thing was, another challenge for this year was that mom guilt. I couldn't take the time away to do as many field trips as we would normally do. We literally did very little. Working and homeschooling has been my greatest challenge as a homeschooling mom. And so one of the things that I had to overcome was knowing that we do our best, right? Just because we're not going on field trips during the school year, Monday through Friday, we would do things on Saturdays And so that was a challenge I had to resolve within myself. I had lots of prayer time with the Lord, and on how to let go of that, because we do the best for our kids, and while life doesn't look exactly like it used to, we still do okay. Like, we still do well. We're not suffering. Everyone has what they need, and some things that they want. So we did do we did like a handful of field trips this year, but we did part-time with our friends as much as we could. But life was lifing, so there's that. The other thing was that I was struggling with my work life, homeschool life balance, right? So it wasn't just with work. So it was with work and homeschool and kids' activities. So trying to make sure I wasn't just exhausted. So that was a challenge, because I just stayed tired for a long time. And I'm still tired sometimes. But thank God the year's over. Activities have stopped. All the things. So I'm grateful. I know, like, the people who have asked me in the last week, like, how's it going? I'm just like, it's going good, but it's going to be really, really good once this week is over, because all of our activities have stopped for the year. And so we get to rest, right? And what a privilege. To just take a bunch of stuff off your plate. And so what I found was that we had one day out the week where there was, for sure, like during the Monday through Friday. We also had Saturday, Sundays, not as much of a rest time for us, but most times Saturdays was a good day to kind of recuperate. But that used to be our fun day, right? And so instead of having fun that day, we would mostly be recuperating from our work week. And typically, like, that was when I would plan fun things for us as a family, but I was exhausted too. So it was, finding that time where it's just like, no, we won't commit to this, we won't commit to that. This is what we get to do. Like, we get to rest during these times, we'll have fun, but I'm gonna say no to people on these days. Tuesday was another day for us where, while we had to work and homeschool, both my husband and I work from home, we still got to have that day during the weekday where it was just like, no, until the latter half of the year, where, how do you say no to your teenager wanting to do a Bible study with their friends? Like, we had to put some restrictions on it as far as how often, but yeah, the go life is just not, the go life is fun when you get to plan all your go things, and it's all the fun things you want to do. But when someone else is controlling kind of what your day looks like, it's not always as fun. So we found some balance there, but I also realized that this was the first year I completely decided we're taking the summer off. So no school June and July. So we're doing all the Labor Day weekend early, starting on Friday, which is today. The video will be up on the day you're watching, will be Friday before Labor Day. So we will be stopping school, and I have another video just telling you guys like what our summer homeschool plans look like, because there's a level of let's keep doing some of these things so nobody forgets, their entire existence, and when you come back for the next school year. So we do keep learning, but not active learning. It's just more passive learning with reading and things like that. But the work-life balance was a challenge this year. It was a challenge. The other thing was keeping my high schooler kind of on track with her homeschool work, I guess, our homeschool curriculum, because she did co-op this year, and the co-op that we're part of or that she's a part of here. I say we're a part of, but it's a co-op where I don't have to teach, which is the only way we were going to do co-op this year. And it was just for her, and it was a couple classes, like biology and then world history that she took there, which I thought was going to be really good for her. And she ended up doing really well, but a lot of the struggles or challenges was that the workload was heavy. It was very academic, and it took away from her time with the things that she needs to do at home. But also just keeping her on track and not. I'm trying to figure out how keeping her on track with helping her understand, like, just because your day is long there, and it was just one day a week, and you have a lot of work to do throughout the week, doesn't mean that other things get to go by the wayside. And so keeping her on track was a bit of a challenge this year, because it meant that I really had to stay on top of, like, going through, and she has like a checklist and everything, but I really had to make sure, like, okay, did you finish this? Look at this. What did you work through? Why, is this finished? And typically I don't know that I necessarily have to work as diligently with making sure the curriculum that she's using is, like, getting done, because it's obvious, and it usually is, but I had some work distractions and my boys are young and they need me more. She works independently, but making sure her things are getting done to keep her at pace was difficult. And it's not that she couldn't do it, it's just that there are times where she chose not to. We had a few days during the week for her that were long days, and I realized that maybe, like, those days outside of the home, she just couldn't, she needed more of my input with keeping her balanced. So there's one whole day during the week where she's an intern for her choir, and also she has choir, so she interns for the younger grades, and she has choir that day. So she's literally gone from like 8 a.m. till after 2, and trying to get her back on track when she gets after that. It's a long day for anyone. So trying to get her to get other things done that day had proven itself to be a bit difficult, because I wanted her to rest. It's been a long day. And then we have things on Friday evenings that we go to. So, like, I feel like we kind of lost a whole day. And then on our co-op days, which was just one day a week, she had 2 classes. And so my only requirement was do 2 math lessons. Since Friday you don't really do a lot of schoolwork, you could do some things, but if you do 2 math lessons and you've got your 2 classes at co-op, there's time for you to get these things done. But she also had church on Wednesday nights and things, and our friends would pick her up. Actually, Diana's family, because one of her kids went to the same co-op as my oldest daughter, and so those 2 days took a lot away. And so while I don't always advocate, I'm not always an advocate for, or I don't always advocate homeschool co-ops, depending on what your life looks like, it helped us for the classes where she really needed to get it done, because I wasn't going to be able to really go over science in depth with her, and then some things like history where you really need someone, you want to make it interactive, and I want her to retain this information and just enjoy it a bit more. And it was more that I could give this year, more that I could give. So those were our challenges this year. And one of the ways that we resolved this last one with her, keeping her on track, I don't necessarily know that we did a good job resolving it. The other ones we kind of figured out solutions for, but this one, it lagged on, and we tried, but it wasn't as effective, and she ended up still getting behind on things. So Her goal, not mine, because she's 14, guys. She is 14, and so I'm not tripping. I'm like, we're gonna take the summer off. You can finish up in the first half of the year and not make a big deal about it. But she is choosing to continue her math. So she wants to continue. She's got geometry work that she still needs to complete. She's like halfway through. So she's choosing to work throughout it, throughout the summer, to make sure she can start Algebra 2 in the fall. So her choice, and I think I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna try and root her on and encourage her to stay the course because of that. But she'll be a junior. She turns 15 in the summer, and she'll be a junior when she starts this upcoming year. So I'm not pressed. That's why I'm like, just take the next half of the year and we can finish it. But we're pulling some stuff off her plate to make sure she can stay there, or not adding any more, I should say, to her plate, to make sure like it's there. And we're now also doing co-op, so which is a further from our house. It's a lot of things, lots of things. But those were our struggles, or our challenges this year, and I'm just gonna run through our successes because they were great. And one of them was good reading progress with our boys. So our oldest son is 9, and our other son, who's our youngest, is 8. And I saw really good reading progress, especially with our 9-year-old. I'm really, really proud of how well he's reading. They don't always enjoy it. My daughter, she, like when we were first teaching her, she didn't love it. And then she found a book series, but I would make them read. You know, her goal was in the beginning 30 minutes, and then it was an hour a day, and then she fell in love. And so our boys are just getting to that point. My youngest, he doesn't love it. He still doesn't. Like, it's just gonna be, that's what it is right now, and that's okay. He doesn't have to, but he still has to read. So I'm grateful for the progress. I'm also grateful for the times where even when I couldn't, you know, my husband would read with them or let them read to him. If I was working, they would sit there and read to me while I'm working. Whatever it was, we tried. And the times where we couldn't, just to see the progress in the reading has been such a huge blessing. I know that you know, there always are gaps, and we find them later, right? Thankful for God's grace this year. Just all the way thankful. Another thing was our boys needed less assistance with their math. And so as the year progressed, I really saw a huge decline in just the amount of questions that they had with help, needing help with problems, especially my youngest. My oldest son, our 9-year-old, he seemed to do really well with like getting through his math. And then as the year went on, as things got a bit more challenging, he kind of stayed with that pace. And I was just really proud of seeing that, because I couldn't be as hands-on as I would normally be throughout the year this year. So to have them still be able to kind of keep going and ask questions as needed, and I come in and help, amazing. I'm really happy about that. The other thing was, another success was my high schooler. While I said there were challenges with like making sure she like kept on track on the days where they were really long for her, while she was in co-op, she nailed those classes. Like, she did great. Like, straight A, you know, not that grades are all that, but it is nice to see your kid go into a challenging academic situation and pass with flying. Nobody's opposed to that. You know, you want them to pass with flying colors. And if they don't, you're like, oh, good, you know, let's see what we can work on. But it feels good to know that she saw that she saw it as challenging. She saw that she could do it as well, right? She pushed on, she studied, she did procrastinate, because that's kind of like her natural desire, and a lot of our natural desires to procrastinate. And so, but we pushed past that, and she did a great job. And our last success was that I got much better with setting boundaries. We realized that we have to set boundaries with like work and people trying to pull us in different, ways, especially away from our family. But also this year I learned to set boundaries with my family too. So not letting everyone take 100% of what I had and having nothing left, because that's usually how it kind of goes, right? We give this one, give to that one, and then we got nothing left, right? But even with my, setting my boundaries throughout the day, the kids know, hey, I'm in my office working. Your time starts here, so your independent work at this time. But while I'm in here, only come if you really, really need me. Like I got them on a really good schedule with things that they didn't need me for. And then if they had questions, they could always come in. If my door was shut to the office, my husband and I share an office. If the door was shut to the office, they knew that I was in a meeting or on a call, and not to come in unless it's an emergency. And so like setting those boundaries, and even with work, I had to set boundaries with them, right? Like I'm not taking calls after this time. Once I clock out, I'm done for the day. I'm not coming back to check on things, I'll respond to them in the next day in the morning, like early in the morning. I will see you. This will get done. The world does not fall apart if I'm not doing this thing 24/7, right? So I'm letting God's grace, right? His grace is gracing. That's what we're going to do. And so we can't do it all. While I found like other areas of my life, I just wasn't disciplined in, because I needed to be disciplined in these areas. I get to use the summertime to like build those disciplines up for me. So I'll talk to you guys later in the next video about what it's going to look like for our summer and what I'm doing to find myself again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment below what you did this year that you would consider a success for your homeschool, and also any of your challenges that you faced. I'd love to hear the challenges that you faced, especially if you found solutions. Like, how did you overcome? So remember to check the description box, because we do have a free homeschooling 101, ultimate homeschooling. It's been 2 different names. So I think it might say both. I don't know, but it's free and it's there, and there's lots of resources within that. So click on that, and if you're new to homeschooling, it will like richly bless you. Diane and I worked on it a couple years ago. We also do homeschool consulting for people who are interested in consulting. That's in the description box as well. So I will see you in the comments and in the next video. Be blessed.